All right, back on NewsNation Now. We've been covering this conflict. We'll try to give you some perspective on the area that we're talking about, with Israel's military saying it's retaking control of all the communities that border Gaza shortly after the defense minister had announced a complete siege of the area. That was the term used, complete siege of the area. And the bombs are coming in now from the Israeli side and have been throughout the day into the Gaza Strip. So when we look at the Gaza Strip, it's just a small area that is shaded in there. And these are some of the strikes that you see in red that are coming in to Gaza. That is something that we will likely see continue throughout the night tonight. We've seen some live pictures of structures on fire there and the like. So this is the response to the point Arwa Damon was making. Geraldo talked about this as well. The next few days, we could really see some severe damage inflicted on Gaza. In fact, Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister, has said as much. General Mark Kimmitt joins us now, former assistant secretary of state, political and military affairs when George W. Bush was president, also a retired brigadier general. General, it's good to see you and get some perspective. I do want to talk for a moment. I mean, everybody keeps asking, how could this happen, this vaunted Israeli intelligence apparatus? But first, your perspective on how Israel is responding. It is going right after Gaza, and it's doing it in a big way already starting tonight. Well,
the first thing I would think that we're defining this improperly. This is not a conventional war. This is not counterinsurgency. In many ways, this isn't counterterrorism. We've got to recognize that what Israel faces right now is a hostage situation. And unless they invoke the Hannibal Protocol, which says our hostages don't matter, the primary concern of the Israeli government and the military that's supporting this is to get those hostages out. That's an opportunity, but that's also a constraint. So I don't think we're going to see tanks crossing into Gaza. I may be wrong, but they just need to understand that a full-fledged conventional assault right now will probably result in the killing of some of the hostages or worse.
Well, don't these airstrikes that we're seeing right now present that risk? I mean, we don't know what Hamas has done with those hostages or whether they're possible using them as shields, do we?
Oh, that's exactly right. I would suspect that many of them are being used as human shields, and they're sitting right now in command and control headquarters so that when the Israeli targeteers look at that, they've got to make that decision. But there is somewhat of a protocol that goes on between Hamas and Israel in terms of what are, quote, acceptable targets and what are unacceptable targets. I don't think Israel has crossed that line yet.
Okay, we'll monitor that throughout the night. I do want to get your perspective on the basic question of, how did this happen in your view? I mean, there certainly seems to have been a breakdown, again, in this Israeli intelligence apparatus that I mentioned at the beginning. Even the Iron Dome, which people talk about so much, having a 90+% success rate. It seems like Hamas figured out something about how to get around that a little bit better than the past. How did this happen, General?
Well, this has been the greatest deception operation that I've ever seen come out of a terrorist group. If we remember about a year and a half ago, when Russia was putting all of its troops up in Belarus, there were many that said Putin would never attack, and yet he did. In this case, it's more complicated. Hamas has been trying to convince the Israelis that they're acting responsibly and they're more focused about their people having jobs than fighting. That was number one. Number two, they had done a lot of saber rattling along the boundaries before this happened. And the Israelis discounted that and say, well, this just has to do with the 50-year anniversary of the 1973 war. And then all of a sudden, they attacked. And it just caught the Israeli intelligence services with their pants down. I would suspect the long-term effect this is going to have on Mossad will be profound. But nonetheless, I know the Israeli military, and I know they're going to get their feet underneath them in a couple of days and overcome this intelligence failure. But now is not the time to analyze it.
Yeah, especially with that international reputation Mossad has, the Israeli CIA, essentially. Thank you, General. Thank you very much for coming on today.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.